as I just mentioned, your team's looking pretty good here heading into the spring ball.
Yeah, they're doing good. I mean, those boys work hard and everything along those lines. But I mean, I'm just looking forward to a great spring bowl from all the teams that happen to make it down to McAllen.
So a lot of great things coming up, for TYFA. And, of course, we got the Spring Bowl, and one of the questions that I got was about the brackets, when they can expect the brackets to come out. And, obviously, I kind of answered as we started the show. It's kind of hard to build a bracket when you don't even know all the teams that are in yet. But when does TYFA plan to have those available and out for people to see as they head down to McAllen next weekend?
Well, I mean, being that we have games still taking place on Saturday and Sunday this week, that will affect, who gets in and, who's going to be bubble teams or whatever the case may be. We're going to be working on it all day Sunday as scores come in, and hopefully we'll have the brackets done and out by Monday evening, or, at the latest, we'll let you reveal them on the show on next Wednesday. But I mean, we're going to try and let people know a little bit ahead of time because there's some teams that have already booked their hotels and some teams waiting to book their hotels.
So we made a big announcement a few weeks ago, and I know a lot of people are waiting on some information. It's finally been posted on the TYFA website, and that is the partnership with the Dallas Cowboys for the upcoming TYFA camp. How exciting is this for TYFA to have this kind of partnership with America's team, the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, I think it's a really good partnership, and I think it's going to open a lot of doors for us. I mean, I think the Cowboys have seen the value in what TYFA does as far as building the game of football and keeping it current and building that grassroots effort. They've really made a commitment to reviving the game of football through a grassroots effort, and they wanted to partner. Them being who they are, they wanted to partner with the largest youth organization in the state of Texas, and we've gained a lot of notoriety through the show. Sometimes not always good, but for the most part, those who look at it, they kind of look past the negative stuff that's portrayed on the show, but they see what we've accomplished, and they want to be partners with us, and it's really going to be a beneficial partnership because outside of this camp itself, I mean, we have some other things on the board that we're going to be working towards. One of those things being that we're going to be putting on a series of camps throughout the course of a year and then kind of culminating in kind of a combine probably next summer. So, a lot of big things come out of this partnership, and it's going to be things that only benefit the membership and, not just with the Cowboys, but we're trying to expand that out to maybe have some partnerships with some of the other teams in Texas that are, that can help, grow our organization, but also help continue to grow this game of football.
When things like this occur, when TYFA is able to put something together like this to this magnitude, I think a lot of people that listen to the show that follow TYFA, whether it be they're involved in the league or they're just followers from the TV show or what have you, or just listening to TYFA radio, what does it take? What's the time frame for something like this to be put together with an organization like the Cowboys?
Well, no, it takes time. I mean, it's just like when we worked on getting the championship games in the Star last year. I mean, it took us a good 6 months, just to kind of get the understanding of how we could pull it all together. And then, once you have the construct in place, then it's kind of, okay, we got to get all the powers that be in place to make sure that everything is going to work out. It's going to be a win-win for everybody. And sometimes, it's just when you're not in Dallas, we're in San Antonio as far as headquartered, and so sometimes that distance, it took a lot of phone calls and plane trips up there to, sit down with the Cowboys and work out all the particulars. But all in all, I mean, the effort that you put into it, I think the rewards that we got out of it have been beneficial to all the membership. I mean, we were the first youth organization to step foot in the Star and actually host an event. So, we love to be the first in doing things. So, that's kind of a feather in our cap, and we're hopefully going to continue that relationship with the Cowboys as we put the championship series back in the Ford Center next season.
And now this was a question that was asked a while back, and I haven't had a real answer to it. I haven't really had a chance to even ask you this question. Are we headed back for the 2017 Fall Championship back to the Star?
We are heading back to the Ford Center, back to the Star for the championship series in 2017.
So that right there is just exciting news to already know, because that's something we've always struggled with every year because of UIL high school playoffs, what have you, is knowing where we're going to go for championships and things of that nature. So that is a huge feather in the cap as well.
And that it is. I mean, it really kind of takes kind of that last minute planning that we have to do sometimes when you're dealing with the UIL or looking for available venues. And This way we can kind of focus on other things. When we know that where we're going, we can kind of continue to add to the event and bring in more things. And I think this year we're really planning on bringing in more interactive things for the fans. Last year we had we involved the fans in the voting for the Al Hollands. So this upcoming year, we've got some different interactive things that we're going to try to bring to incorporate to make the game more interactive and keep everybody engaged.
So the camp coming up June 24th and 25th, what is it they can expect? And obviously they can go to the website at TYFA.com, click on it. The registration's there online as well. What can they expect when they go to this camp?
Well, the one thing that we wanted to stress for this camp and through our partnership with the Cowboys is we wanted a different style of camp. A lot of people have said they've gone to these camps where there's former NFL stars, and all it is it's a glorified autograph session. And that's what we don't want this to be. We want it to be an interactive skills camp where these kids are actually getting trained and getting some valuable skills, from people that have been there and done that. And that's the one thing that we stress. We want this camp to be very interactive. We want the kids to be doing stuff. We don't want them to sit there and listen to, former NFL players talk about when they played and sign autographs. We want them to engage with the kids, teach them the skills for the respective positions, but just make it a camp where they really feel like they walk away with some tangible skill sets.
And I'm looking at the schedule that you can look at online as well at TYFA.com. And, they're telling you to bring your tennis shoes, football cleats, extra water, some sunscreen. Lunch is going to be provided, but if you got allergies, bring your own lunch, in case, you don't want to get something to make you sick. But the schedule itself, 9 a.m. checking in, 9:30 stretching, 10 a.m. position drills, 12 p.m. lunch, 1 p.m. competition drills. It's just things going on constantly.
Yeah, the one thing that they said they wanted to do is they're trying to simulate what a kind of an NFL minicamp does. As when players go to minicamps, they want to kind of give you that simulation of how the players go through it and how you should prepare yourself to be a player. The one thing they do want is they want the kids to walk away from this event knowing how to better prepare themselves to be a better football player.
So grades 2nd to 8th grade, June 24th and 25th. It is the TYFA camp sponsored by the Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be at the Wheatley Heights Sports Complex, correct?
That is correct. The Wheatley Heights Sports Complex on the east side of San Antonio, a beautiful facility, artificial surface, so you don't have to worry about any type of weather messing up the field or anything along those lines.
Great job on that. That is going to be a fantastic weekend of football drills and just giving the TYFA kids. And that's another question that did come up. Why is it just exclusively TYFA? Why is it not open to any kids?
Well, we say this is kind of the benefits of being a TYFA member athlete. We want to provide things that are going to be exclusive or unique to us and give those experiences to those kids that, play in our programs. And that way it just kind of makes it a little bit more special. In order to be a part of this camp, you have to be a TYFA member athlete. So if kids outside of TYFA want to be participating in camps like this, then our only suggestion is that you join a TYFA team in your respective area.
Now let's look at the state of TYFA, our annual State of TYFA address for 2017. What's it looking like as we head into our fall season again after the Spring Bowl?
Well, I think, this year, the beginning of the year, we kind of thought that maybe our expansion was going to kind of take a little bit of a backseat this year. We thought it was a little bit slower than normal. But over the course of the last 2 months, it's really picked up. If you've been watching TYFA, looking at TYFA Radio webpage or Facebook page, as well as TYFA.com, you can see the amount of teams that we are incorporating in. We're not so much in those areas where we already have teams, but we're looking to expand those areas where we don't, especially in West Texas, which has really picked up here in the last month. I think within the last 2 weeks, there's been 2 or 3 new organizations out that way. We're growing Dallas. We've picked up at least 2 or 3 new organizations in Dallas, and we still have about 4 or 5 that are pending. So if the expansion in those areas where we want to have growth is really picking up. And I just think the interest in TYFA itself, is really picking up. People are really starting to realize, but they understand that, we are the premier league in the state of Texas. We're the only one that offers a true state championship covering the big cities as far as San Antonio, Austin, Houston, and Dallas. And we're arguably the 3rd largest organization in the country. I mean, we're getting a lot of interest, Kenny. I mean, from not just internationally as well as here domestically in the United States. I mean, we feel calls constantly from organizations in Oklahoma and Louisiana and Arizona, people who want to, to join TYFA, or at least they call us inquiring about how do we get a franchise in our respective states or in our respective cities. So, the growth is always going to continue to be there. But as far as the state of TYFA itself, I mean, we want to grow, we want to expand, and we really want to go in those areas that we are not servicing. I think outside of Dallas and West Texas, I would say our next focus is going to be on the, Corpus Christi area right down there. There's a lot of youth organizations out there that, we would really love to have as part of the TYFA family. So that's really what kind of the state of TYFA is right now, is that our focus is on growth. But not just grabbing any team. I mean, we've turned away a lot of teams this year that have applied because, we don't need more growth in San Antonio. We don't really need more growth in Houston proper. We need those service those areas that we're in. So, I think that we've gotten to the point now where we don't have to take everybody, but we want to be choose, be able to pick and choose who we want and make sure that they're really going to be a good TYFA member.
Now, I think a couple of years ago, or even maybe last year, we kind of looked outside of the state of Texas. Big as Texas is many teams, and like you said, we're being picky. Is that go with the case of expanding outside of Texas, those teams out of Louisiana, Oklahoma? We had Hobbs, New Mexico, I think, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're not going to go too far too fast. I mean, we want to if we can get some of these kind of like border cities, and like maybe something like it's like Shreveport, that's really very close to Texas. Maybe something like Texarkana, maybe something like just across the border in New Mexico, and maybe just across like Wichita Falls in the top of Texas. We've actually been talking with a group up there in that top of Texas that is really interested about being part of TYFA, but logistically right now they just want to make sure that they have enough teams up there so they don't have to travel into the Dallas area in order to play games. But I mean, you're right. I mean, we have looked outside the state, but we're going to be more cautious about that. We're not just going to jump in with both feet yet.
All right, so the state of TYFA looking good, and I mentioned it earlier. I mean, West Texas, which started out strong, took a hit, and is now starting to pick back up. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I think it's just that some teams didn't realize the competition level in TYFA, and it was a little bit too much for them. There were others that they just really couldn't grasp the concept of the travel. The travel can be a little bit cumbersome to teams, and especially in the playoffs. If you're a low seed, I mean, for the most part, if you finish 5-3, or you get in at 4-4, I mean, you really have to brace yourself because you could potentially be on the road for 6 straight weeks in order to get to the state championship. So sometimes that's a little hard pill to swallow for those teams out that way. But I think, just as in every chapter, sometimes we start off really fast and some teams, fall by the wayside, and that's just kind of the normal course of things. That happened in Houston. When we went to Houston, we started off with 14 organizations, and then the second year we were down to 7. You lost half of them, but then you look at it today, I mean, Houston is, the largest chapter that we have as far as city size, but their growth has been steady, probably the fastest growth rate of all the chapters here in the last 2 or 3 years.
Brian Morgan, President and CEO of TYFA, final thoughts on heading into 2017 for the fall season.
Well, I think the final thoughts would be that we are going to be focused on growth, but I think this year one thing that we really want to focus on is the quality of play, the quality of, and I'm going to say I'm creating a new word, a new phrase for you, Kenny, a quality of conduct. I think going forward we're going to be spending a lot more time, a lot of effort and more time educating our coaches on how to conduct themselves on the field, and not just the coaches, but the officials as well as people who are part of TYFA. I think, you can't just focus on one area and say, oh, this conduct needs to be improved, or, the professionalism is probably the better way to put it nowadays, is that the professionalism from the coaches to the officials to TYFA people who work in TYFA, it all needs to be looked at. We can all do better. And nobody's perfect. And if you're out there thinking that, officials are going to call a perfect game, then you're fooling yourself. So I think that, from the standpoint of improving that quality of conduct and that quality of professionalism is something that we're really going to focus on in 2017 as well.
Brian Morgan, President and CEO of TYFA, thank you.